Well, welcome to the 700 Club, and thanks for joining us. Not tenable. That's the Pentagon's response to Poland's plan to send fighter jets to a U.S. base in Germany to shore up Ukraine's military defenses. At the same time, President Biden banned Russian oil imports, a move supported by 70% of Americans.
Russia continues its relentless assault on Ukraine, with civilians paying a heavy price. The international community is responding in a big way to the escalating humanitarian crisis. Charlene Aaron has the story.
President Biden shut down Russian oil imports to the U.S. in an effort to ratchet up the pressure on Vladimir Putin. But the move comes at a hefty price for Americans, as already high gas prices are expected to soar even higher. The president is hoping Americans will view the ban as necessary to stop Russian President Putin's war on Ukraine.
That means Russian oil will no longer be acceptable at U.S. ports, and the American people will deal another powerful blow to Putin's war machine.
A new poll shows more than 70% of Americans support the Russian oil ban, including 2/3 of Republicans.
Gas prices have absolutely exploded in the last week.
Republicans are calling on the president to increase domestic oil production.
Actually, we do it most environmentally safely than anywhere in the world. And we create American jobs and make our economy stronger. So why don't we do it here? Until I hear that, until I see actions that support that, I'll have a bit of skepticism about their commitment to lowering gas prices.
The Biden administration facing bipartisan backlash for reaching out to nations like Venezuela for oil. On CBN's Faith Nation, Victoria Coates, distinguished fellow at the American Foreign Policy Council, weighed in on the issue.
I'd very much like to hear out of the White House is that they are fully supportive of American domestic production. That would have the most calming effect on markets.
Tuesday, the Pentagon rejected Poland's offer to transfer MiG-29 fighter jets to a U.S. base in Germany so they could be passed on to Ukraine. The U.S. calling the plan not tenable and likely to further inflame tensions between the Russians and NATO. Coates said it reflects Eastern Europe's deep concern over Putin's ambitions.
I think what you're seeing, Jenna, is a number of countries that suffered grievously both during World War II and during the Cold War know what's afoot here. They know they've taken the measure of Vladimir Putin and what he's willing to do in Ukraine.
Meanwhile, Russia's attacks on civilians continue, with several major cities under fire. The U.S. warns food and supplies in the capital city of Kyiv may run out within 2 weeks. Hundreds of thousands of people are fleeing the onslaught.
It's really hard, especially when we've left again everything. Some bags, children, no husbands, no help, and no future.
CBN's Operation Blessing is on the Poland-Ukraine border, bringing relief, distributing supplies such as portable solar-powered chargers for mobile phones and hygiene kits for the refugee families. The UN says more than 2 million Ukrainians have crossed the border into neighboring countries, and the numbers keep growing every day. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Well, it's the largest humanitarian crisis of this century. 2 million Ukrainians on the move, and we're there. And we've been there in Ukraine. If I can get a map showing all the different places that Orphans Promise is working, there it is. Those are all the different places we've been working. Eastern Ukraine has been a special emphasis since 2014 and the first Russian invasion of Ukraine. But now that we're seeing this wave of refugees, 2 million, we're going to be gearing up in all those locations to help people both inside and outside of Ukraine as women and children are fleeing the conflict. We're focusing in on Poland, and if I can get the close-up there, that's where we're distributing the light kits and the cleaning kits, and we'll hopefully have food and water within just a few days. We're looking to get a major warehouse facility. Poland is receiving the bulk of the Ukrainian refugees, and so we want to be right there in the heart of the need. We need your help to do this. If you're already a 700 Club member, You're the reason we're having all of those locations. We've been there for 20 years with Orphans Promise. CBN's been in Ukraine for 30 years, and it's all because of your faithful giving. If you want to be a part of this special effort to help the refugees, give us a call, 1-800-700-7000. Say, yes, you can count on me. I want to be a part of it. We have on Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund we're going to be using to distribute out to both Orphans Promise, all these different centers. So you can just put Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund on the memo line of a check, mail it to us to CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia. You can text OB Crisis to 71777, or you can call us, 1-800-700-7000. Say, I want to be a part of it. I want to help the Disaster Relief Fund with your gift of any amount. Do it now in 1-800-700-7000. In other news, the increasing fear worldwide is that Russia might use nuclear weapons. The nation's intelligence chiefs testified to that possibility before Congress yesterday. Ephraim Graham has more on the story from the CBN newsroom. Ephraim?
Gordon, intelligence officials delivered their annual assessment of global threats to the House Intelligence Committee Tuesday. While China, North Korea, and Iran are all on the list, the war in Ukraine is overshadowing them all. CBN's national security correspondent Caitlin Burke explains.
Each year, the nation's top intelligence chiefs testify before Congress about major anticipated threats. Usually, the list tends to be more theoretical. This year, however, one has become reality.
Russia, of course, also remains a critical priority and is a significant focus right now in light of President Putin's recent and tragic invasion of Ukraine, which has produced a shock to the geopolitical order with implications for the future that we are only beginning to understand.
The intelligence community predicts up to 4,000 Russian soldiers have been killed over the last 2 weeks, a cost of Moscow underestimating Ukraine's resistance.
I think Putin is angry and frustrated right now. He's likely to double down and try to grind down the Ukrainian military with no regard for civilian casualties.
Putin also misjudged the response from the West and NATO.
While Putin probably anticipated many of the current sanctions to be imposed when he weighed the cost of the invasion, we judged that he did not anticipate either the degree to which the United States and its allies and partners would take steps to undermine his capacity to mitigate Western actions, or the pullback from Russia initiated by non-state actors in the private sector.
National Intelligence Director Avril Haines called Putin's announcement of a heightened nuclear alert extremely unusual, while adding she believes it's more of an attempt to deter Western involvement than a signal he intends to go nuclear. Still, Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, Lieutenant General Scott Barrier, cautioned against underestimating the Russian president.
He says something, we should listen very, very carefully and maybe take him at his word.
Former State Department Special Envoy Eli Kohanim told CBN's Faith Nation that Putin's threat is a warning as the U.S. negotiates a nuclear deal with Iran.
I think there's a lesson to be learned here for the United States as we are about to sign a deal with the Iranians that is going to give them the very same power that we're seeing Putin have over us and holding us hostage as a nuclear weapons capable country.
The intelligence chiefs also touched on the potential of a cyber war stemming from the conflict in Eastern Europe.
We're very, very focused on ransomware actors that might conduct attacks against our allies or our nation. Very, very focused on some type of cyber activity that's designed for perhaps Ukraine that spreads more broadly into other countries. Third is any type of attack that an adversary would conduct against an ally. And then finally, certainly our critical infrastructure.
The growing relationship between Russia and China also came up. CIA Director William Burns saying he believes China is unsettled by what's happening in Ukraine, pointing to the difficulties Russia has run into, the global economic fallout, and even the potential for damage to Beijing's reputation after aligning with Moscow. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
For many here in the United States, the suffering in Ukraine is personal. As Wendy Griffith shows us, Ukrainians in the U.S. are taking to the streets to protest Russia's invasion and to pray for the protection of their homeland.
More than than 200 people, many of them Ukrainians, are gathered here at the Virginia Beach oceanfront with signs, songs, and desperate prayers. They're hoping to raise awareness and funds for Ukrainians who are right now fighting not only for their country, but their very lives.
Olga marched with her parents who came over just 2 months ago, but her brother is still in Ukraine.
Yes, my twin brother is in Kiev, and my son. And every day we wake up and make sure that he texts us that he's alive and he's okay. So as many people who's here, this is their life every day. We're just praying for everyone to be okay, but it's just hard to watch your city, your town to be destroyed.
Sergei is also worried about his brother, who is in the middle of the fighting.
Every morning I'm just wake up and call him if he's alive and everything's okay with him. We need to stop the bombs and rockets and everything. We just need to close sky.
The rally was organized by the Tidewater Ukrainian School, a group dedicated to promote and preserve the culture and language of Ukraine.
There is millions of refugees in Ukraine being displaced from their homes. We want to help them. We want to support people in America to know what's going on. Because right now Ukraine is being a shield for Europe, for Western values, and for freedom.
Among the marchers, Natalia Komyak with CBN's Orphans Promise. She says many of their centers in Ukraine are now serving as shelters for refugees fleeing the war and are equipped with mattresses, generators, and non-perishable food.
So this is such, again, another miracle and praise report that we were ready to receive the people, and they are ready right now. They have food to feed them.
Her prayer is simple, that her homeland will not be wiped off the map by a mad dictator.
We really need to press the government here today to close the airspace over Ukraine because people are dying. Some of my friends that are trying to get out right now cannot even get out of the house because of the heavy shelling. So I'm so happy to see that Americans are standing with Ukraine.
For now, marching, praying, and giving to the war effort is all most people, including many Ukrainians here in the U.S., can do as they continue to hope and pray for a miracle. Wendy Griffith, CBN News, Virginia Beach.
Our prayers and our support are desperately needed right now. Gordon?
And you can be a part of the support effort. If I can get that map up again, those are the various Orphans Promise locations within Ukraine. You can be a part of the effort to make sure they already exist, they're already staffed, and they're just being mobilized to help with the relief effort. We're relieving and helping people within Ukraine, within the war zones. We're also helping people as they leave. Women and children are leaving. 2 million have left, and we're positioned in Poland. We're getting ready to position in Romania. You can be a part of all of it. All you have to do is call us and say, I want to give to the Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. There's a way you can go online, cbn.com. You can give there. You can also give on the Operation Blessing website, ob.org. You can call us, 1-800-700-7000. Say, yes, you can count on me. I want to be a part of helping people in Ukraine.